Hello and welcome to today's episode of Rare iOS Devices Being Unboxed. In here we've got an iPad mini that I think is probably the most overlooked iPad mini that Apple ever made. According to the eBay seller, this one is running the original version of iOS that it shipped with. So let's get this thing opened up, see what we've got, and then talk about it. Okay, here is the iPad in a very light colored gold case, and it is already on. Let me see. Ooh, not good. Let me adjust the camera angle here and then we'll get into this thing. Okay, here is the iPad. And I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the case because I don't really like this thing. It's pretty flimsy and it is broken at the top there. Okay, so right away we are greeted with the sign into iCloud screen, which I'm not a fan of. But as you can tell, those of you who are experts around here, this is running iOS 8, which, unless I am wrong, is the original version of iOS that the iPad mini 3rd generation shipped with. So we've got 8.1.3, and unfortunately we do have an iCloud account. I don't know if I can just sign out of that. That'll be a project off camera. But this is the first iPad to get Touch ID, the first iPad mini to get Touch ID. So let's see if it is working. And it is. This is pretty neat. So the 3rd gen iPad mini is the exact same as the 2nd generation with the addition of Touch ID. It still has the A7 processor. Oh, and this is actually a cellular model. And it's in gold color, which I believe the 3rd gen mini is the first year to offer this gold color, which is pretty sweet. So the 3rd gen was a minor, really not even an improvement at all, except for Touch ID. And I think maybe you could get 128 gigabytes for the first time in an iPad mini with the 3rd gen. So having one of these on iOS 8 is pretty cool. And the reason I say that this is probably the most overlooked iPad mini is because there were so few changes to the design. The design stayed the same, the internals stayed the same, and the exterior stayed the same apart from the Touch ID home button and the new gold color, which I've got right here. But this appears to be a really clean model. I'm not seeing any dents or scratches. Certainly no damage to the display that I can see. It's a little dirty, but I don't see any scratches on there. So usually the devices we look at on this channel are iOS 6 or below. So getting one on iOS 8 is pretty cool. This and the iPhone 6, as well as the iPad Air 2, were the Apple devices that were sold and launched with iOS 8. So this is pretty cool. It runs really smoothly. Usually these Retina displays on the older iPads and iPhones, it gets kind of laggy, especially with only 1 gigabyte of memory, which is what these had. But this one is in good condition and it is running really well. So I'm going to have to work on getting that iCloud account removed. And I don't know if iOS 8 was the first one to introduce auto updates in settings or not. So we want to make sure that there is no updating this thing. So I may in fact leave it off Wi-Fi after I get the iCloud account removed. But that's going to look at the iPad mini 3rd generation running iOS 8 Oh, before we go, we gotta check out the wallpapers. iOS 8 had some interesting ones. iOS 7 and 8 had some wallpapers that were not included in any other versions of iOS for whatever reason. So I think these were the iOS 7 down here, and then I believe iOS 8 included these ones, which are pretty neat. I like this one with the mountains. It's very simple and elegant and matches the rest of the aesthetic of this iPad perfectly. Okay, that's all for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next one.